Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tim Barker. I'm the District Attorney for York County, and we're here today to go ahead and speak to you about the horrific events that occurred yesterday. I don't lie to my constituents. I never will. And so I'm going to say up front, this is extremely difficult. One of the most difficult things that any of us have ever had to go ahead and be a part of and to go ahead and do. But we're here today to go ahead and give you an initial finding of fact. And again, it's an initial finding of fact as to what happened yesterday. And we can go ahead and do so because the investigation has been extremely thorough. I had requested that the Pennsylvania State Police take over the lead on this investigation, and they are doing so in conjunction with the county detectives from our office in a full and complete collaborative effort. Based upon the information we gathered that was provided from my review, which included being out at the crime scene itself for hours yesterday, being walked through various aspects at the scene, which included also a review of body-worn camera footage, a review of dash cam footage, personally having a chance to see where there were various items of ballistics, physical evidence, and unfortunately, the location of our fallen officers. Based upon this review of information, I will go ahead and deliver an initial finding of fact. This is an initial one. There are many steps that need to be completed as part of this investigation. And there are many questions that I will not answer for you at this time because the investigation is ongoing. And there will be a second briefing once all of that information comes back and is complete. Those of you who know how we operate know that is what we do. We speak with what we can, when we can, but we will not go ahead and state or confirm anything that would be remotely incomplete and not decisive. So, what do we have here? Well, first off, Matthew J. Ruth, he is the actor. And this is the only time I will mention his name. After this, he will only be referred to as actor. What occurred begins actually on September 16th at approximately 11:23 p.m., and we must start there, because this began as an incident of domestic violence. There was a call that came in from the mother of his ex-girlfriend that the actor was spotted on her property with binoculars looking through the residence, looking through a window. The mother of the ex-girlfriend advised that it was a white male wearing camouflage, and she could see him through a trail camera that was standing in her driveway. And while en route to the location, the mother of the ex-girlfriend advised that the male possibly came there in a black truck that was parked on Emig Road around the corner from the residence at 1879 Hare Road. Officers responded, and upon initial arrival to the property, they did not locate the male. They went to Emig Road and did observe the black 2000 Ford Ranger pickup truck parked along the road in the woods line. It was unoccupied, and then officers went back to the residence and spoke with both the ex-girlfriend of the actor and the mother of the actor. And the ex-girlfriend of the actor had advised that on 8/20 of 2025, an unknown person set her pickup truck on fire while it sat in her driveway. She advised that at the time she suspected that it was her ex-boyfriend who was the culprit, but she wasn't sure, so she requested that the matter not be investigated further. The ex-girlfriend then showed a still photo from the trail camera, and what it showed was a white male wearing all camouflage outfit, standing behind the ex-girlfriend's truck in the driveway. And the male is looking through a scope device with it pointed towards the residence. The ex-girlfriend identified the male in the photo as the actor, and she advised that they put the trail camera up after the incident on August 20th of 2025. The ex-girlfriend confirmed that the actor was, in fact, her ex-boyfriend, and she suspected again that he was involved in the incident of setting her vehicle on fire. She stated that they had dated for only a short period of time and that the actor had never been to her house nor had ever been invited there. The ex-girlfriend also advised that the actor owned and often drove a 2000 black Ford Ranger pickup truck. And when they were reviewing the photo, the officers noticed that the actor had an AR-15 style rifle slung across his chest while looking into the residence. The officers then proceeded over the next several hours, which included assistance as well from the York County Sheriff's Department through the use of their drone, to attempt to locate the actor. They could not find him, despite searching over the next several hours. A warrant was sworn out for the actor's arrest, and the charges in that matter included stalking and loitering and prowling at night. The next morning, detectives from the Northern York County Regional Police Department attempted to go ahead and locate and execute a search warrant on the known residence of the actor. Included in executing that search were 3 detectives: Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emenheiser. 2 other detectives also participated in this search. They arrived at the actor's residence and communicated with his family at 12:11 p.m. They left the residence, having interviewed family and having conducted search at 1:23 p.m. At 2:02 p.m., Detective Sergeant Becker, Detective Baker, Detective Emenheiser, and 2 other Northern Regional detectives arrived on scene at 1879 Hare Road, the location of the incident the previous evening. They arrived and they were searching for the actor. Also accompanying them to assist was a deputy sheriff from the York County Sheriff's Department to again assist with drone action and finding individuals through the usage of a drone. The search went on for the actor, which included various outbuildings, and the drone was being employed to also check neighboring fields. During the course of this search, detectives went to the front door of the residence. They arrived at the door at 2:08 p.m. The initial officer who went to the door was Detective Emenheiser. Right behind him was Detective Baker. Following as well was Detective Sergeant Becker and another Northern York County Regional detective. Final detective remained behind as more of a perimeter view in looking out for the actor and securing the perimeter. Detective Emenheiser discovered that the door was unlocked. Having remembered that the door was left locked by the ex-girlfriend and mother who were not at the residence because they went somewhere else for their safety, they decided that they were going to go in. The door was open, and upon immediately opening the door, the actor repeatedly fired at the officers with multiple rounds from an AR-15 styled rifle with a suppressor, immediately striking Detective Baker, striking Detective Sergeant Becker, striking at Detective Emenheiser, who he and the other Northern York County Regional Detective who were there closest to the house, as they tried to go back for cover position. He repeatedly fired upon them. All 4 detectives went down. The actor then proceeded to turn his attention to the deputy sheriff. The deputy sheriff and the other Northern York County Regional Detective began to position themselves to return fire. The Northern York County Regional Detective repeatedly fired at the actor. The actor did strike the deputy sheriff, who was by his vehicle, and also struck the vehicle. The deputy sheriff did himself remove his 9mm. The Northern York County Regional Detective was firing at the actor with his AR-15 style rifle. The actor repeatedly was firing his rifle at the deputy sheriff, striking him. The deputy sheriff went down and went to try to retrieve his rifle and go for safety, as well to take cover to return fire. The actor went up towards the roadway where the vehicles were to engage in fire with the deputy sheriff, continuing to fire at him. The deputy sheriff returned fire with his 9mm handgun. The Northern York County Regional Detective also was returning fire with his rifle. While up at the roadway when the actor was there was a final exchange of gunfire. After that exchange, the actor went down. The actor became deceased. Following this, the Northern York County Regional Detective immediately went to see about rendering aid. He immediately went down first to his fallen officers from Northern York County Regional Police Department by the house and discovered detectives that were non-responsive. Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emenheiser were all killed following the brutal ambush that was committed upon them by the actor. The final Northern York County Regional Detective was critically wounded. The other Northern York County Regional Detective immediately began to render aid, as he also called out to have responses from other law enforcement and other emergency responders. After rendering aid there, he realized that the deputy sheriff was also critically injured. The detective for the Northern York County Regional Police Department responded to the deputy sheriff and immediately began rendering aid to him as well. From the time period when the detectives arrived at the front door preparing to enter to when the shooting stopped, they arrived at the front door at 2:08 p.m. All shooting had stopped by 2:10 p.m. and 16 seconds. At 2:14 p.m., the first additional officer arrives, another member of the Northern York County Regional Police Department. The detective rendering aid to the deputy sheriff requests that the other Northern York County Regional officer go over and place handcuffs upon the actor, not knowing his full status at that point. That was done so. And then numerous other law enforcement agencies and emergency personnel came to the scene to assist and render aid. The Pennsylvania State Police, as mentioned previously, took over lead in the investigation assisted by our county detectives. Numerous law enforcement agencies came to help to secure the scene, help with any rescue efforts. And when I say numerous, I can't tell you how proud I am of every single law enforcement officer in this whole county. They all came from everywhere to be there to help in any way they could. A search of the scene revealed numerous locations of various ballistics evidence that in a future briefing we will be able to catalog to go ahead and explain what it is following ballistics testing and following other information. Needless to say, at this point in time, from what I was able to observe on scene as shown and explained to me by the investigators, it corroborates fully what we have just stated and also shown through visual and also through other interviews. Inside the house, besides discovering the initial casings from where the actor began his barrage of murderous activity, they also discovered in the basement that he had killed the black Labrador that was owned by his ex-girlfriend's mother, shot one time. We are currently investigating further aspects of motive. So we will not speculate on the full profile of the actor. Numerous other search warrants have been executed. Other things are being analyzed. There is one motive, though, that is clear for everything, and that is the hateful scourge of domestic violence. That is what brought us here. That is what brought law enforcement here. That is what started all the activity. The whole sequelae is there. And yes, thanks to the actions of the Northern York County Regional Police Department, supported by the York County Sheriff's Department, we have 2 lives of the residents there that are saved today. Because make no mistake about it, and this I can conclude by all reasonable inferences from all information without speculation, had they arrived home and not Northern Regional Police Department officers arrived, they would have been killed immediately by the actor. Again, that is not speculation. That is the absolute only reasonable inference from all actions. The detective from Northern Regional who was injured was, of course, rushed to York Hospital, as you all know, taken into surgeries, was critical but stable. The same is for the deputy sheriff from the York County Sheriff's Department. We are very blessed and thankful that they are stable. In terms of some legal aspects, One of the things that I wanted to make clear of right now, although it be crystal clear and obvious to any human being on the planet, but just to make sure that this is articulated legally, all actions by law enforcement were justified. They weren't only justified, they were necessary. And we are so thankful and appreciative to them, and especially our Northern York County Regional Detective who fired the last shot and who rendered the aid. I can't imagine the strength and the fortitude that it takes to immediately, after having seen and been engaged in that, and going down to see what you observe, to be immediately thinking of rendering critical aid and engaging in life-saving action. He saved many lives that day. If the actor was not eliminated and his threat and murderous rampage eliminated, who knows where this would have stopped. Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, Detective Mark Baker, and Detective Isaiah Emenheiser were all credits to law enforcement. I personally knew them very, very well. They were wonderful. They were mission-driven, and that day they continued their mission. Well, their mission is now complete. You kept the faith. You ran the race. You fought more than a good fight. You fought the critical fight for us. Job well done. Mission well served. And we will love you forever and all eternity. Final comment I want to make is about York County. This is my home. This is our home. We've gone through a lot this year. We've been at podiums like this too many times. And when you go through that, when you go through these sorts of things, it can seem very, very dark and dire. And you can begin to lose faith and hope. And I'm going to tell you, last night, there were a lot of us feeling that way, and I personally was too. And then when I left the scene and went over to the coroner's office when I was in the procession, and we're going down the roadways, and all you saw all along those roadways were members of our community. And they were standing there in the rain for hours to watch our law enforcement, standing there, the old, the young, families, children, waving American flags, waving flags and holding signs saying, "Back the blue," showing their love and appreciation for law enforcement. And all I could think is, there's the light. There's Christ's light that drives out Satan's darkness. We are a great community. We are a safe community. We are a loving community. We are there for each other, and we need to be together to be love and light, and we will demolish hate and darkness by doing so. And by God, with every fiber of our beings, we will do that. This county will always be there for our law enforcement. And our law enforcement will always be there to protect and serve you. God bless you, York County, all that you are, all that you stand for. And we are so proud to serve you every moment of every day. With that, I'm going to ask my dear friend, Dave Sunday, to speak. And before I do, I want to mention something special about him. Yes, he's our Attorney General, and yes, he was the former DA. But he plays a more critical role in our lives, and in my life in particular. He's one of the best friends I have. And he came to the scene last night, not to be Attorney General, not to be a politician, not to even go ahead and be extra law enforcement. He came there at my request because we needed his friendship and love. And you know what in life? That's more important than anything else. And more important than calling him my former colleague, my former boss, and our Attorney General. I call him my friend. So, my friend,